Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Felris. Thank you for joining me to play Raid Shadow Legends today. Guys, they have finally done it. They have nerfed Trunda. They have changed Hydra. I'm kind of mad about it. I'm not too mad. Like I've said before, it's a game. Excuse me. But I am a little bit skeptical of how these changes will work for new players. So we're going to go ahead and give the video a walkthrough and see kind of, excuse me, what's going on. So let's go ahead and just start this video. They dropped this video earlier today. Let's see what's going on. Short 5 minutes and me saying my opinion on stuff. So let's go.
Hey everyone, we've got a different kind of update preview for you today. We're showing off some balance changes coming to the Hydra and a few other areas of the game. Along the way, we'll explain why we're making these changes, but here's a quick overview. The current meta is way too limiting to players who don't have specific champions in their collection. We want...
Actually, I don't think that's true. Endgame? Yes, if you're a super endgame clan, yes, that is absolutely true. The majority of players aren't there, though. Yeah, the majority of players don't need that. Most players are more like me. They don't have Trunda, whatever. And they're just trying to do what they can in Hydra. So right off the bat, I think that's wrong. Unless they're just talking about end game players who just want to be the top Hydra players in the world. I don't think that's true.
Experiment with different tactics and teams.
That's good. They, the experimenting with different tactics and teams, that's good. Yeah.
Things up each week. Let's dive in and take a closer look at what's coming. First up, we're setting the turn limit at 1,000 turns. Auto-battling the Hydra can easily take over an hour, so we're aiming to cut down the time by at least half an hour. You'll now need to build teams that do damage faster, rather than teams built for a war of attrition.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. That or add quick battle. I think quick battle could be a good something to do instead of that. I think quick battle would actually be better, but I'm just a lowly YouTuber.
Few adjustments. You'll have no problem reaching the damage numbers needed to get your usual rewards. Moving on, we're changing how the Serpent's will buff works. Most importantly, and brace yourselves folks, it now reduces damage by 100% for a newly grown Hydra head. Yep, you read that right. Complete damage reduction. You won't be able to nuke a newly grown head straight out of the gate anymore. Hold on though, there's good news too.
See, the problem I have with that is, again, it only affects end game players. It's only, affecting people who are running the Yannicka or the Trunda teams. Maybe even Sigfriend. I don't know if Sigfriend can do that. But it's only affecting those end game players. I think maybe a better fix is to put these changes on to Brutal and Nightmare and have Hard and Normal the same as it always was. Because this is going to make it a lot harder for players who are just starting out, people who are in more my boat, to actually do damage to Hydra. Again, that's only a problem in the late game. That's not a problem early game. It's not a problem mid-game. That's only a problem in these crazy teams. And rebalancing an entire boss over 2 or 3 specific teams, no, that's not a good idea. That's not good for the game.
If 2 heads regrow at the same time, only one of them will get the Serpent's will buff. Champions have gotten stronger since the Hydra initially reared its heads.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of meh. It's not really good news. It's just kind of, it's not as bad as it could be, but it's still terrible.
What with Awakening, Empowerment, and Mythical Champions joining the fray, we were seeing Hydra heads nuked as soon as they rejoined the battle. even with the 75% damage reduction.
I bet you not from an early game player. I bet you not from end game players. Sorry, not from mid game players. I bet it was only from end game players. Give me the number of early game players that were able to do that. And here's kind of my beef with this. I want all content to be accessible and fun for all areas. It's kind of what I'm... Yes, you should have to work up to it, but it shouldn't be... the entire boss should not be rebalanced around these specific teams, because here's what people have a tendency to do in Raid. They'll just work around it. They'll find something else crazy to do. And it's kind of just, these are bad changes in my opinion.
So, to make the fight even, and bring back some of the challenge that's been lost due to the game's evolution, the Hydra is getting a little stronger too.
The challenge is only lost in the end game when you have a massive roster to be able to solve all the content. People need double Yumiko to run these teams. Unless you're a spender and you're like spending for like tens of thousands of shards every time there's a progressive chance or a 2x or whatever for Yumiko, it shouldn't be a problem. I don't understand why they're doing this. Just change the champions. Change the champions that are doing this stuff. Don't change the entire mechanics of the boss. Anyways.
We're also making changes to digestion and devouring. You know how late on in the battle your champions start getting digested on a 2-turn countdown? Well, for every subsequent time they get digested after that first 2-turn countdown, the damage you'll need to do to free your champion increases.
So it's even less accessible now for early mid-game players, for free-to-play players. Oh, this is terrible. And oh my goodness. They did say, well, I don't know, guys.
Serpent's Will, Digestion, and Devouring lost much of its intended challenge over time as more powerful champions and features were introduced.
So nerf the champion. Don't make the boss harder. That's just going to make everybody's lives harder.
It was always meant to be one of the Hydra's key mechanics and an ever-present threat, but it became really easy to rescue allies that were being digested. So, we're bringing that...
Okay, not gonna lie, that animation is kind of cool.
...ear back into digestion. Taunts won't help anymore either. The Hydra has shed its thin skin, and petty insults will no longer distract it from a delicious champion meal sat right in front of it. In short, once a champion receives the mark of the Hydra debuff, they become public enemy number 1. And Taunt isn't going to do anything about it. Taunt is a cool mechanic.
I kind of hate how they're kind of rubbing it in our faces a little bit here. The wording and the tone of this dude's voice is a bit like rubbing it in your face, and you can let me know if you disagree with it. If you do, that's fine, but that's how it's coming across to me, and they didn't need to do that. People are already going to be as mad as they are without that. Anyways.
But new champion combinations emerged that could totally negate the mark of the Hydra. Less cool. It's not all bad news, though. Your team's AI will now prioritize attacking the head that is digesting when you're running in auto battle mode.
That's good. They should have just done that 2-3 months ago.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Exposed necks are also getting a rework.
Lovely.
From now on, exposed necks will have a set HP value that is double the original head's HP.
No, that is not good. Exposed necks are how, at least in my experience, they are how early mid-game players without Trunda get their damage. It's also how the end-game players do billions upon billions of damage, but they should just nerf the champions that these endgame players are using. Not make the boss stronger, because this is going to make it super hard for early mid, free-to-play, low spenders to actually do anything. And I kind of hate it, and it sucks.
Once that value reaches 0, the head will immediately regrow. With constantly regrowing Hydra heads, you'll need to think on your feet and have tactics in place for all potential scenarios.
Or just stop playing Hydra, because at this point that's what I might have to do.
Oh, man, Hydra battles are about to get much tougher. But the changes don't stop there. We've got a few more lined up to help keep things balanced, starting with shields. Shields will now receive a cap of 1.
Okay. This is actually a change that could work. I know people are mad about their Wixwell team, whatever, but this is actually something that is a actual fix to the problem.
Million points! This cap is separate for shields placed by artifacts and shields placed by skills, though, so you could get up to 2 million points of shield. These caps are still big enough to ensure powerful builds remain viable for taking on the Demon Lord and the Hydra.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. Wixwell, Demon Lord team. Hopefully, people will still have their 1 keys. Yeah.
As game-breaking as before. And lastly, we come to everyone's favorite dwarven warrior herself, Trunda Guilt Mallet. Don't worry, we're not nerfing her into oblivion. We're just rebalancing some of her skills to keep her damage numbers in Hydra battles more reasonable. Starting with her default skill, Golden Mallet, Trunda will now have a 50% chance to place a stun debuff on both hits. A little upgrade, but a neat one for PvP.
Nobody cares about Trunda in PvP. Sorry. The only place... Well, some people care about her for Arena, but... excuse me. The only place people really shines is Hydra. Until now, apparently. Yeah. Good.
Second skill, Cloak of Ages, will now ignore 50% of each target's defense on her second hit. However, the caveat here is that it will only ever be a normal hit. It's still big damage, but it won't be quite as astronomical as they have been before. Forge Rhythm, Trunda's third skill, now places consistent HP burn debuffs, and both hits from this skill deal 50% more damage to enemies under a stone skin shield. Another neat boost to her overall kit.
So basically they've changed Trunda. That is good. I think that's an actual rebalance. They should have rebalanced these champions, then waited to see if they need to rebalance the boss. They may still do that. These changes aren't live in game, but it would have been much cooler if they had rebalanced the champions first and then the boss. I agree that these changes to the champions are nice and needed, but change that PLARIUM. If you're watching this, I don't know if you are, but if you are, make sure that the champion nerfs do the job first before making the Hydra harder for everybody, not just those people who have those specific champions.
Finally, her passive skill now increases Trunda's attack by 5% for each stun or HP burn debuff she places on enemies. Her speed will still be increased as well, both by stun and HP burn debuffs. All in all, Trundle isn't going anywhere. We still expect her to be an excellent choice for Hydra battles and the arena. We tested a ton of early, mid, and late game champion rosters.
Okay, the last one there, that was a late game. This is late game.
And team compositions when making these changes.
That's a late game roster.
Our results showed things would get better.
Also a late game roster.
Still be able to earn Hydra chests and milestone rewards in Hydra Clash.
So they showed everybody, they did not show one early game team. What about my clanmates who are using level 40 rares? Like, what about them? What about me? I don't have Wixwell. I don't have Trunda. I'm still getting punished. Guys, it's not that I'm mad, because it's just a game. But it is that, why are they making Hydra less fun? For me, I haven't done anything. I have a meager 27 million damage on hard. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. They need to rebalance the champions before they rebalance the boss. I hope they do. Maybe this will come in like a couple of different parts, but I don't have much hope right now.
And you'll spend less time fighting the Hydra each week. As always, we'll be keeping an eye on your feedback and monitoring game data to see how these changes affect Hydra battles overall. We hope this preview has been useful for you and will help you prepare for more battles against the Hydra. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more.
Okay. Alright. So the one thing good that they're doing is reducing the turn count. That's good. Everything else, well, and the champion rebalances are good. Especially since they're not going to affect Wixwell and Demon Lord, according to this. Yeah, even if it did affect Wixwell and Demon Lord, I think that would only be a problem when people no longer had their 1 key. If people still have their 1 key but are doing less damage, I think that's totally fine. But the boss rebalances, guys, those are terrible. Those are terrible. PLARIUM, please don't. Alright, guys, I have been Felrus. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in another video.